Okay, so you're new to the game, or you've just come back to the game, and you're seeing a lot of people building trap tunnels and, building around the objective really well. And you're wondering, how do they know where to place stuff, and how can I learn how to do that? So I'm going to show you the basics of building trap tunnels and building around the objective. Firstly, for the objective, you're basically just going to want to, especially for the low levels, if you are a beginner, you're mainly just going to want to build walls around the objective as close as you can to it. The reason you want to build as close as you can is because this gives less area to cover. So, for example, if I had built all the way out here, I now have more area on the outside here to cover. Whereas this way, there's, this entrance, this block entrance, and this block entrance. In a normal mission, you'll tend to want to just build a box around the objective. For example, retrieve the data. The Atlas missions, you won't actually be able to build the walls on the Atlas missions, there'll be something already here, the actual Atlas itself. In that sort of situation, you would want to build like this, which you can either do by putting a cone down and editing up one side of it, or by placing stairs. You want to put a floor there, and at that point you can put a floor launcher on it. So let's just use this objective as the example, like this. For a 2 wide bit here, you see we have a wall on the left and on the right. You want to build your cone like this, which is just editing up one corner, and then you can put underneath and put your floor launchers on. Now, the floor launchers are great here because when stuff goes here and tries to break through your cone, they will get launched up into that and then away from the objective. Second reason this is great is because smashers will not charge this. They will come up to it and start hitting it with their fist, and that gives more of a chance for them to get knocked further back. Now, when it comes to building your actual walls, this is mainly for the objective. You're going to want to take into consideration the elements in the game. So if you don't know, or if you haven't seen them, at a certain point in the game, you will come across elemental husks. Now, these will be coloured, so you'll be able to tell straight away which element they are. So the first element is water. They'll look icy. They'll be blue, pale blue, the colour of, water and ice, basically. And these do more damage to brick. Then another element is fire. Now, they are very easy to spot. They've got flames coming off them, they're red, and they do extra damage to wood. And then finally we have nature enemies, which look sort of electrocuted, yellow in colour, and they damage metal more. And on top of that, you have the fact that metal is the strongest. You can see it's got 560 health points. Wood there has 280, and brick has 420. So you're going to want to use metal against water and fire enemies, and then with nature enemies, which do more damage against metal, you'll want to use brick. So that's the materials down and the objective down. Next we have the actual trap tunnels themselves. First situation, let's say the enemies are coming from here. I'll use a wooden cone to represent where the enemies are going to, spawn or come from, whichever way you want to look at it. What we want to do is block off a few different directions, which means that now the enemies can't go this way, can't go this way, they have to come this way. Now what we can do is also block off this side again, put a wall, block off this side, and now where we have a 3 wide area, we have narrowed them down to just becoming into a 1 wide area. This means that any traps we place in here, we're only going to need 1 ceiling trap, 1 floor trap, 2 wall traps, whereas before, if we, for example here, had the 3 wide area, you can see we would have 3 floors, 3 ceilings, but 2 walls again. By doing this, we can then continue to put walls and a ceiling above and a floor below, and this is basically what I'd like to call, your basic tunnel. We can damage or slow them beneath, damage them from above and damage them from the sides. Now for this, you would want to either use a slowing trap, such as tar pit trap or wooden floor spikes on the floor, or you could use a damage trap like retractable floor spikes, flame grill trap, those types of traps. On the ceiling, basically just use whatever your favourite ceiling trap is. I won't get into which traps are better than other traps. And then on the walls, you could either use something that slows them, like a wall lights, or just plain and simple damage them. Let's say our enemies are coming up from this ramp here, so I'll put a cone at the top. I will now show a 2x1. Basically it's called that because you're building it in a 2x1 area, so 2 tiles that way, 1 tile that way. Now the best way to build this is to have it so you have walls on the single tile sides, like this, and then have entrances basically opposite each other. So if our entrance is here, we will then know to block the side opposite, block the side next to it. So effectively we're bringing them through diagonally. We also want ceilings above. This lets us put more traps down, so you definitely want that. And then for the traps, it's going to be basically the same. The only thing I'd say for this is where you have an opening like this, where there's plenty of room outwards, you would want to put a wall launcher. The reason for this is that the enemies will walk in, and then this will push them all the way back out, all the way down here. They'll have to come back up, and hopefully you'll have traps on these stairs, so that you're going to be doing, the same damage to them again. Over here, you'd want damage traps on these walls probably, damage traps on the ceilings above. Now, whenever you have a wall launcher like this, you definitely want something on the floor which is going to slow them, such as a tar pit trap, and then afterwards you can use whatever you want here, damage them, slow them, that's up to you. Next we have when you're going up a ramp. So this is a 45-degree ramp, which basically means that you're going up 1 tile as you go across 1 tile. Now for these, the best way to build for it is to build a wall at the side and the back like this, which basically surrounds where they're walking up, and then put a ceiling above. Another example of ramps is a 2-wide ramp here, so you could do the same thing but extend it across 2 ways like this, or you could alternatively block 1 side like this, and now we have what we had before, basically a 1-wide ramp where we build like this. And then finally we have an alternative version of a 2x1 trap tunnel. A lot of people call it a timeout room, and basically what it does is you build it like a 2x1, but this time the entrance and the exit are both going to be on the same tile like this. So we'll block that side, this is the exit, this is the entrance, and then over here we build a box where we can chuck them into basically. So, this is very similar to the other 2x1, except instead of having a wall there and an opening there, we block that side and open this side. Now, to do this, we put a slowing trap here. I'll use the tar pit as the example. And then we want a wall launcher here. And effectively what we're doing is stopping them or slowing them here. This hits them into this box here, and we put damaging traps on every single surface in here. With this type of trap tunnel, it's up to you which one you use. That's the beauty of this, way of showing you this, is that I'm giving you the ingredients. You have a few different types, a few different ways of building it in different areas. So when it comes to an actual mission, you could choose to make a straight tunnel forwards, or you could use a 2x1, either way. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully it did help you understand how to build trap tunnels, because that's the main idea behind this. And thank you.